Hello, everybody. Welcome in. It is From the Bleachers here on the Fan Sports Network. Caden Formaster, Mark Musgrave.
The voice you know.
Welcome in, everybody, to the show today here on Monday, the 14th. Tomorrow, everybody ready? It's back to school night. It's a school night tonight, Mark.
It is a school night tonight for sure. Now, at our house, it's been a school night for several nights as the teachers have been back.
Yeah, your wife's going back.
For about a week now. But officially, yes, tonight is a school night. School tomorrow. Students are back in classroom. Hallelujah to the parents that have kids in school still. You know what? Who's not one of those? This guy right here pointing at myself.
Do you know who else is one of those?
That
guy right here pointing at myself. But for different reasons.
Yeah, very different reasons.
You're done, and I just haven't started yet.
That's right.
That's where it is.
Yeah.
We just have very different reasons why.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, welcome into the show. I know that a lot of people are everyone's just kind of been waiting for this week to hit, and here we are. So back to school week. It's time to get back in those routines. I'm excited because I'm always in a routine. My routine doesn't change because, again, I don't have kids, so I don't have kids in school.
However,
I know that's going to change eventually, but
it changes traffic, though.
But exactly, it changes the world around me. Just because my life doesn't change doesn't mean that my life doesn't change. Does that make sense?
Coming to work this morning, I was turning off of Bloomington Hills Drive onto Brigham Road, and even though the kids are not back in school, I could tell there was more activity than there was, last week.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, I was in line to turn onto Brigham Road, and that just gets magnified starting tomorrow morning. So now we have to be very strategic when we leave the office here. We got to know when lunchtime is now. We need to know, when they're going to school, when they get out of school.
3:00 around here.
Yeah, around 2:45.
Because we're right. For those who don't know, we're right next to Desert Hills High School.
So we need to be a little strategic.
Right next to it. And that also means a bunch of the places to eat around here.
Yep.
If it's lunchtime for the high school, you might want to hold off and wait because their lunchtime's kind of early. It's like 11 o'clock or whatever. If we wait until 1 or something, it's not so bad. But if you go between 11 to about 12:30, it can be rough. It can be a little rough. So, and also just leaving to go other places.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I know. I think
which also picks up law enforcement too.
That's true. We do have a lot more cops around here.
A lot more cops when school is in session.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't mind it.
I don't either.
I'm out there driving the speed limit, so I don't care. But it makes it so people don't go speeding around everywhere.
Especially when Landon was in school. But when I'm out and about, especially in this area right here, we have a family text group, obviously. Like I would assume most people do. I will say, I'll text the whole family, hey, be careful on Brigham Road. There's two of them, two officers doing their job. So just be careful.
Yep.
Just throw out those reminders.
Yep. And that's not a bad thing to do.
No, it's not.
It's not a bad thing to do.
Keeps their foot out of the pedal.
Yep. The other day, I just in my groove, and luckily I was driving the speed limit, so it doesn't matter. But just thinking, I got to get to work, right? I wasn't paying attention to the world around me all that much. I'm just in my lane. I'm just driving, doing my thing. And out of the corner of my eye, there's an officer on a motorcycle just kind of sitting right there. I'm like, man, I'm glad I was going the speed limit because I was not paying attention to my speed whatsoever. Really, I was just in the mode. I was just driving. I looked down and I was like, whew, okay, I'm good. I don't know if you've ever done that where you pass a cop and you're like, crap, I have no idea how fast I'm going right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like I got a little lucky on that one. But, yeah, that happens from time to time.
That's funny.
Well, let's dive into it. We are coming fresh off of the weekend where we started Region 9 football. Preseason is up and running now. And as far as Region 9 goes, I will say that 5 of the 7 teams would have loved to have had a different result. And, this is something that I feel like I don't want to say I've expected it because I did not expect only 2 teams to win this weekend. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, me neither.
But I do feel like this is going to be one of those seasons where preseason can be a little rough. There's a lot of really good games on the schedule this year. A lot of really good games on the schedule. And by that, I mean teams are playing up to opponents instead of playing down in a lot of these situations. There's a lot of teams that are moving up instead of moving down. Some straight across, some 4A against 4A, right? Some are even going down 4A against 3A, but there's a lot of 4A against 5A, 4A against 6A. So I expect to see a lot of either good, strong games. And you know what? There are going to be some losses. I expect to see some losses in this preseason just because of how tough some of these schedules are built. But let's dive into it. There were still some good ones from Friday night and maybe some not so good ones. I don't know. Where do you want to start, Mark?
Yeah, let's start with our game of the week. Brighton at Desert Hills. Let's get that one out of the way.
Absolutely. No. That is one of that is one of those that we do kind of want to get out of the way. It was a rough one. It was a rough game.
It was, and I will tell you, Desert Hills did a lot of good things, and And I think they learned of things that they can do more of, like, well, score more points. But, Brighton was legit. They were 30, they won 34-14. I will tell you, Jack Johnson, their quarterback, and their receivers were tremendous. Also, Hartel and LaFleur as running backs were legit. That was tough for Desert Hills to keep in check. I will tell you, those receivers, they looked like they were 6'2", 6'3", maybe even 6'4". They were fast, good hands. Johnson put the ball right on them.
Yeah.
And, high school corners are normally 5'8" to 5'10". So to get those kids to guard 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", it's a tall task. See what I did there? It's a tall task to cover. Those guys, those kids were good. Brighton just looked a little bit faster, a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger.
Yeah, Donovan Weismer had 2 touchdowns, but the thing that's more impressive than that is 130 yards receiving.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when I'm sure at a certain point they probably started to pull some of those seniors and bring in some lower classmen just to try to get them, because there are a decent amount of names over there on the receiving list. So I'm sure that he's probably one of those that got pulled a little earlier in the game and they let some other guys take control. But that is an impressive number right there. 130 yards off of 7 receptions. That's really good.
It was. But there were some good bright spots for the Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
One being running back Titan Mason.
Titan Mason, for sure. He's the real deal. 17 carries, 180 yards.
He had a big 100-yarder that is being talked about. I mean, the kid's legit for sure. I will say the offensive line run blocking was fantastic. Pass blocking, not as much. I'm sure that's something that they're working on as we speak. Pass blocking wasn't as good as I think it should be and that it can be.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out on that for that to improve. Bo Wall, early on in the game, I think he got a little nicked up, came out. Grondel went in and didn't have much luck either. Bo Wall, before he went out, was 2 for 5 with an interception. Grondel was 7 of 16 with an interception as well. The one thing that concerned me a little bit with Desert Hills, and again, I think they'll get this worked out, not too concerned about it yet. Again, going up against Brighton, bigger, faster, stronger, not too concerned about it. And again, with a new quarterback coming in, we've talked about this weeks leading up. There's only 2 returning quarterbacks, Crimson Cliffs, Steel Barbin, and Cedar City's Coden Lund.
Yeah.
Everybody else is starting from scratch.
Right. And you could look at Grondel and say, hey, he played last year, but he didn't play with this team.
Not same system.
It's
absolutely. No, new quarterbacks all the way around. So we'll see how that pans out. I'm not too nervous about it yet. They'll get it worked out. They're just too talented not to. The other bright spot, Ocean Taufa. He had 15 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack. He really did start getting going, and look out for that kid to just be a beast on that defensive side of the ball. Again, 15 tackles.
Dude,
3 of them for total for losses, and one of them was a sack.
For a sophomore, that's impressive. For anybody, that's impressive, but especially where he's a sophomore, that's insane.
So again, Desert Hills, they'll get things worked out. Not too concerned about that yet. I'm sure the coaching staff might be a little more intense than I am right now, but again, they did some good things. I'd like to see the quarterbacks in the passing game, move the ball, go a little further down the field, take a couple of shots, even if you know that they're not going to be complete, just to loosen that defense up a little bit. Everything seemed to be 8 to 10 yards or screenplay to Saipolu, or to, just screen passes. I'd like to see him take off the lid of that defense a little bit. And even if it's a shot that, that's not going to be, a high percentage completion, take the shot anyways, and let those safeties and linebackers at least know that, yeah, we'll do this. Because it was tough going for that offense. Other than the run game, that, again, was pretty darn good. The run blocking was really good. Pass blocking, not so much. They'll get it figured out.
They will. They'll get there, and it will take time, probably through this preseason. Once we start seeing region play come into play, I should say,
Mhm.
right? That's when it's gonna be a little more prevalent, a little more noticeable, and we're gonna start to see some of those things coming into play a little bit better there. So, um, let's move on over to let's go to Cedar Richfield game. I don't have a ton of stats on this one.
No, me neither.
Neither you or I were at this game. We can't find any stats online as far as max preps goes. I've looked at Huddle. I guess I could quickly see what Des News has in the world of stats over there. But long story short, it was not necessarily the start to the season that the Reds would have wanted.
No, there's not. They Richfield, the Wildcats took it to the Reds 28-7. Again, one of those, I just don't know a lot about Richfield and their football program. But one thing I do know that I do think Cedar is still going to be a contender in Region 9. I love what they have coming back on offense. I totally have trust in Coden Lunt as one of the two returning quarterbacks in the region. I still feel really good about the Reds. They're going to be a Region 9 contender. Don't let this get you down, Cedar. I really do have faith that you will be a top 3 Region 9 contender.
Yeah. The one score that came from Cedar in the fourth quarter was a pass from Coden Lunt to JT Jeter, who's the new kid over there at the Reds. Jeter is 46-yard pass. So that's that. Those kind of big plays, they give you a little hope, a little bit of a bright spot. That's how they finished up the game was with something like that. So you know what? They avoided the shutout, the blowout.
Yeah,
still kind of there, but they avoided the shutout, and at least they have a little bit of a bright spot headed to Juab this week.
Yeah,
and I hope the Reds struggled with Juab the last couple of years. Juab's still going to be a good 3A team. Right now, Richfield is actually ranked on top in the rankings coming out after this last week. Richfield's on top. Juab's in second.
Okay.
So they're facing two. And by the way, Canyon View is in third, who is the next team that they're playing the week after that.
Right.
Morgan picking up that loss to Crimson, which we'll talk about in a little bit, has bumped Morgan down, but I assume they'll be right back up. Anyways, so we're going to see 4 of the top 3A teams in this preseason, which is kind of fun.
That is interesting how they got that set up.
Yeah, and 3 of those are going to be up against Cedar.
Yeah.
So Cedar's going to be playing some really tough 3A competition this year to start things off.
Cedar, don't go anywhere. Don't start thinking that you're going to go down to 3A. We love you in 4A. We love you in Region 9. Don't, we're not reading into this at all.
Yeah, we're not pushing you out.
Are we?
I'm not. Are you?
They're scheduling all 3A games.
I know they are, but that's not. I like it. I like having them here, though.
Are they going to go back? Are they going to go down to 3A and have their
They're here till 2025, so it doesn't matter.
Crosstown rival will be in their classification again?
I don't know. It all has to do with
just
school
kidding.
size.
I'm just kidding. They're not going anywhere.
Size.
They're not
so
going
they're
anywhere.
not going anywhere.
I know.
All right. So anyway, loss for Cedar, 28-7. What's our next game on the schedule?
Let's do Dixie Springville. Get that one out of the way too. Again, I didn't watch this game. I couldn't find it, but one thing, I was looking at these stats and I'm like, I was at the Desert Hills game and at least I was able to find bright spots. I'm not seeing anything here with the Dixie Flyers. Again, I know that Springville is going to be really good this year, but just throwing out some of these stats, and I really wanted to kind of make sure that these were right, but these are what's on Max Preps. The quarterback play, they had 2 quarterbacks, Wyatt Truman, Brock Parrish, come in. They were 5 of 24 for 8 yards, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. Their long was 11, so it sounds like they kind of had the same issue, maybe even to a worse. What's the word I'm looking for here?
To their detriment.
To their detriment than Desert Hills did. Their long pass play of the night was 11 yards. So again, a difficult time going downfield. And it's like, okay, well, maybe they rushed the ball. not much better. They had 17 carries for 6 yards.
Yeah.
The running backs combined. Now, that also
That's
includes
gonna
some of the
include
quarterbacks.
sacks and things like that, right?
But it's like, ugh, gosh darn it. I'm sure this is not what Coach Monkers was hoping to come out with. We'll see. I mean, here's the deal with this. Here's the glass half full Dixie Flyers. The needle can only go up. It can only get better from there.
Well, hey, you know what? 2 years ago, Dixie made their way to a state championship game. That first game against, guess who?
Yeah, Springville.
Springville was a very similar outcome.
It was.
And they went to the state championship game. So I'm not going to count anybody out, especially when it comes to Dixie. You can't count them out yet. The season's young.
Heavens no. Yeah.
I know that they are one of the most well-coached teams in Region 9 with Coach Monkers. He's a fantastic football coach. He'll have them ready to go by region play. Because remember, the year they went to the state championship, we were thinking,
I do.
This Dixie team's not all that good. Remember they went to Pineview, and we knew Pineview was really good, and they beat Pineview.
Yeah, that's
right. We thought, wow,
I remember
this Dixie
that.
team came out of nowhere. What is this? They end up going to a state championship game.
We were on that call.
Yeah. And this is very reminiscent of that year. The year that Dixie went to a state championship game. They didn't win that state championship. They took second. They still brought home some hardware, but
I hope for Dixie's sake that is kind of how this season plays out.
And I hope so too. So that's what I'm saying. This week one, just because these teams lost, and I'm going for all of Region 9, those that lost games. Just because they lost, that doesn't mean you can count them out. So Dixie loses 7-34. Let's look at Hurricane and Mountain Crest as well. This is another one of those games where outcome definitely less than ideal. But Mountain Crest, we knew was going to be good. They have a lot of returning seniors. They were pretty good last year. They made it to the semifinals. And, again, they continue to be good this year. And Hurricane, as we've talked about before, still just trying to build. Hurricane has just continually tried to build. I know that they don't have the turnout that they would love from some of their students to just come out and play some football, and so they struggle a little bit with just filling up that roster with the talent that they need. They lost that one 35-0 to the Mustangs.
Yeah, that one stings a little bit for sure for the Tigers, and you're right though, they are still building that program out there, and it's going to take some time because that program I think is the last couple of years has really, for lack of a better term, it has been rock bottom. I mean, they've been struggling, like you said, just getting some of the top athletes out to play football. So it's going to take some time. New coaching staff over the past couple of seasons. They've got some good guys in place. I think they are going to change that culture out there, but it's just going to take a little bit of time, and they're going to need a class to really step up, whether it's the class of 24, 25, 26, they need to step up and normally those come in waves. Like they'll have whether it's all schools, they'll have a great class of 24, but maybe 25 doesn't have as many and 26 doesn't have as many. And then 27's loaded. I don't know how that works out with all the high schools and the classes, but the Tigers desperately need the class of 24 or the class of 25 to really step up and help change that culture. And maybe we can get it back to the 2013, 2014, 15 state championship runs that they had.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't long ago. It was 7-8 years ago, but they need to get that back.
Yeah, they do. They need to get that
back.
back.
It's going to take some time.
But again, you're right. All things take time. That will take some time. And yeah, we'll see what happens. And I think that maybe once the regular region season hits, they're playing some local opponents. Hopefully by then they'll be ready to rock and roll. So let's go to Snow Canyon Stansbury. We'll get the losses out of the way. And and this one, I will say, as far as losses go, Snow Canyon had some major bright spots in this one. It wasn't a blowout game like some of these others were. This was actually the closest game that we had all night on Friday night. It ended up being 32-19 Snow Canyon with the loss. But their new starting quarterback in Talon Kelly, he was 20 of 40, so 50%, 285 yards for 2 touchdowns. Not too bad for a game one. first time starting. He did have a little time last year with Hunter Johnson having a couple of injuries, but first time starting off the season. So, that's not too bad to see. JT Westbrook had 2 receptions for 113 yards, one of those being a touchdown. So definitely a bright spot there. I think that all across the board, by the way, Mikhail Swenson had a touchdown as well. Then, outside of that, I kind of looking at it, Ryder Holt on the defensive side, 12 tackles, Tegan Whitehead with 11. So there are a couple of your defensive player of the games right there. This team is at least I would say they're in a really good position to start out right now.
Well, and Stansbury's supposed to be in the upper half of 4A, so that's not a horrible loss for Snow Canyon to go up there and take on the Stallions, because Stansbury's going to be good, and it was on their home field. Not too bad of a showing there for Snow Canyon. Again, we'll see how it all plays out, but again, not worried about that loss up at Stansbury, because again, the Stallions supposed to be in the upper half of 4A.
Yeah,
as is I would think Snow Canyon. But again, it was on the road. Snow Canyon went up there. That's a tough get.
It is a tough get for sure. When you look at the first half, they were only down by a score at the first half.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad, So where the Warriors are at, I would say is in a very hopeful position. Actually, after week 1, you lost so many good skill players last year with all the seniors that left. And you kind of have to refill a lot of those in. And you know what? Not bad. Not a bad week 1, Snow Canyon. I know it's still a loss. It's going to count to the RPI, but it's not a bad loss.
No, not at all.
Take it and run with it. Be happy with it. Mark, let's take a break. We'll talk about the wins.
Yeah.
When we come back, and we've got the bad stuff out of the way.
That was a lot of losses.
We'll talk about the good stuff happening in Region 9 football when we return. Hey, it's Caden Formaster.
And Mark Musgrave, the voice you know with the Fan Sports Network.
Check out our local sports radio show, From the Bleachers, live every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m.
Listen to us on the radio on 99.5 or 95.3 FM.
You can also listen through the Fan Sports Network app or watch the show live on the Fan Sports Network YouTube page.
The Fan Sports Network is your home of Utah Tech Trailblazers, high school sports, and the pros.
The Fan Sports Network, Southern Utah's home for local sports.
Did you know that St. George News has a new app? Download the St. George News app today and stay up to date on everything happening in Southern Utah. Get instant notifications on news, weather, sports, and more. Download the app today and get your local news now.
Media is everywhere. It's a part of our daily life, our routine, not just for entertainment, but to stay informed. Local media has the biggest impact on your daily life. It's what's around you, what matters. And at Canyon Media, our goal is to deliver the very best in local entertainment, news, and media. From our award-winning radio stations like 99.9 Coney Country to Southern Utah's #1 source for local news, St. George News, we believe in delivering free, fast, and accurate local news, entertainment, and information to all of Southern Utah through our entertaining on-air personalities and music, compelling local shows, and community events like the City of St. George 4th of July celebration and charitable events like Coney Coins for Kids. From our entire team of dedicated designers, videographers, salespeople, digital marketers, writers, and on-air talent, thank you for letting us be a part of your daily life. Canyon Media, here for you.
Hey, it's Sheldon Demke. Check out the latest episode of What's on the Menu, a behind-the-scenes tour of local restaurants. We'll see some of their favorite dishes and get an inside look on how these dishes are prepared. Check out this week's episode at stgeorgenews.com and click the shows on the menu tab. Check out this week's edition of TGIF on stgeorgenews.com. TGIF is your weekend adventure guide to all the fun and exciting things going on in Southern Utah this weekend. Find this week's edition at stgeorgenews.com and click the shows on the menu tab. Have a blast this weekend.
As a local business owner, it's important to get the word out about your business. More people equals more revenue for you. Get your business in front of over 160,000 people in southern Utah each week with St. George News. Contact St. George News today.
Welcome back in. It is from the Bleachers here on the Fan Sports Network. Caden Formaster and Mark Musgrave.
The voice you know.
Welcome you back in, everybody. And we're talking Region 9 football. We've covered the losses. Let's get to the sweet stuff.
Oh, my gosh.
The wins.
I wish there were more of them to talk about.
Yeah.
But Region 9 only went 2-5 on Friday night. So we need to fix that, and we need to fix it fast because this Friday night is another Friday Night Lights.
And we'll get to the schedule coming up. We'll talk about the wins, then we'll talk about the schedule for this upcoming week. There are some tough games.
Mm-hmm.
There are some tough games. But we have Crimson Cliffs and Pineview to get to. Both of them really solid wins. One of them was just a fantastic win. Let's talk Pineview for a second.
Yeah, Pineview. And we knew that they weren't going to have the season that they had last year, going over. And they've already doubled their win total from last year. Now they're 1-0. They got that monkey off their back. I was so happy to hear those score updates as we were doing the game on Friday night. I was so stoked for Pineview because, I know a lot of great guys over there. Kelly, the PA announcer, super great guy, and he just bleeds Pineview. I was just so happy for everybody over at Pineview getting that first win against a 4A foe. I mean, in the Logan Grizz.
Yeah.
So good for you guys, Pineview. You guys had some really good things going on over there. Tonga, 13 carries, 65 yards. Moore was 16 of 25.
And that's Adam Moore's a
Adam Moore,
bright spot in this,
for sure.
in this Pineview Panther offense.
3 touchdown passes for 166 yards. I'm liking what I'm seeing over there.
I'm looking at Des News, and I don't think this stat is accurate. 156% completion percentage. I don't think that's possible.
Where can we get? We were just talking about this offline.
It's so funny.
We're like, man,
where can we get some solid stats
we
around
need
here?
dependable stats.
I don't know if we need to hire some stat takers to go run around and keep stats for us or what, but geez, come on. Anyway, I just found that funny. So I assume it's supposed to be flipped. It's probably 16 of 25, which is still pretty good. You're sitting around
16 25.
You're sitting around 60 something percent right there. That's not bad. 3 touchdowns, 166 yards. I think Adam Moore is really quite the bright spot right now for Pineview. But it helps when you have someone like Tonga who can carry 13 for 65. Adam Moore carried one in himself for a touchdown. Quincy Jones, who had a touchdown rushing and 2 receiving. He had 3 touchdowns. Brock Harris, who led in yards with 65.
7 receptions for 65. So, again, looking for the big guy across the middle. I love that.
Yeah, there's this picture that I saw from the game on Friday where he has a hand, like one arm is in front of his face, and he's catching the ball around the defender's arms. And the defender can't do, what do you do as a defender? You are right there. You are smothering the kid, and he still catches the ball. He's just that kind of guy. There's a reason why he's got a scholarship to Georgia and Alabama and Michigan.
He's going to have some great plays this year. He's going to have a great season. Can't wait to see more of him.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Matt Costa, though, by the way, I want to say it was him that had the punt return for a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it was him if I remember correctly. And the crowd just lights up. They are beyond loud for that one. What a play. And again, it feels like there's a fire that is just sparked with these Panthers now. And it felt like that even going into the season. They felt different And this just proves it. It's like, okay, no, Pineview's ready to play.
And,
Let's do it.
you get that first win in a long time for some of these boys, but you get that first win, and that's going to just start building on your passion, your fire in your belly. So, again, and we've talked about it several times that Pineview, they weren't going to have a duplicate year of last year. They were going to get some wins, and they're starting off with a great win against Logan, thank you.
Yeah.
Brain fart.
Yeah. The one thing that I will also say for Logan is that they did it against a 4A team. You mentioned that already, right? I like that they were able to go in against a 4A team and steal that win away. That's fantastic. Now, this week, they are going to go into Canyon View, which is one of those teams that's in the top of 3A.
Yeah.
And Canyon View will be tough. I will say that. They have a great offense. Canyon View is going to be a tough team, even though it's a 3A team. It's one of those where you just don't play down to your opponent because Canyon View is going to be ready. They're gonna be ready to come in and take on Pineview with this one. And then they go to, well, I should say they have Tooele coming in for that last week of preseason, which is, again, it should be another tough one. Tooele's a big town. They got a lot of kids over there. So
if you weren't from Utah and you're driving on I-15 and you see the sign that says Tooele, how would you pronounce that in your head?
probably like Thule, something like that. Yeah.
I remember.
I know what it is though, so it's hard to say.
I remember there was it was called Prison Break. It was on Fox for a while and several seasons, if I remember right. The first or the second season, I think it was the first season, they actually mentioned Tooele, not by that name, but they actually mentioned it in that series, and they called it Thule.
Were you like,
I don't know how
Thule, Utah?
How,
I was like, what?
I don't know how a television series doesn't do some sort of
Some
research. But yeah,
do you remember?
Pretty good about
do you
that.
remember the show NCIS? Is that the one or CSI that took place in Vegas?
Yeah,
CSI
Vegas.
Yeah, that was in Vegas, right? There was an episode where somebody, it was one of those where they took off down the highway and they ended up in what we know as Ely, Nevada.
Yeah,
but it's spelled ELY. They were
Yeah.
calling it the whole episode. It was Eli. They're in Eli, and I'm like, it's not Eli.
And
it's so frustrating.
If we're going crazy about it, think about the people that are living in Vegas. I mean, this is supposed to be CSI Vegas,
and they're sitting there like, come on, you're making us look stupid.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that one killed me.
I don't know how that stuff gets by producers and directors, and
I know.
Just come on.
Call up the city office.
My gosh.
If you don't know, go on the internet, call up their city offices, and say, how do you pronounce your town's name?
Because like I said, if there were some TV show series going on around here, somebody going around calling a hurricane, I'd be like, oh, okay, stop. Or Zion. What's another? L.A. Virkin?
Have you had people call it that?
No, that's what I call it.
I'm like, I have never heard that.
Evans?
I feel like that one's...
Dude, I'll bet you there's people that have hacked Ivans before.
Probably. It's possible.
Veo?
Maybe Vio? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Anyways, yeah, but Hurricane and what about Tokerville?
Oh, I've seen a lot of people botch that one real bad.
I can't tell you what I call it, but
I know exactly what you're thinking.
But yeah, Tokerville I could see being a tough one to pronounce though too. But yeah, television series, do a little research. Come on.
Do some research, guys. Come on. You're not helping yourselves out.
Be better.
All right, one last game to talk about.
Talking about being better, let's talk Crimson Cliffs Mustangs football.
Would you say they're better or just they continue to be good?
Hey, they beat a legit 3A team in Morgan, and they beat them pretty good.
After the game on Friday, that was the game I was at. After the game on Friday, one of the Morgan coaches was up in the booth, right? One of the assistant coaches was up there, and they were like, we don't know what to do with ourselves. We haven't lost a game since 2021.
Oh, my gosh. That's legit,
and,
too.
That just shows how good Morgan is.
Yeah.
They do have a good program. I'll say this about Morgan. To start the game, I thought that Crimson Cliffs was in for a long night.
Yeah, at the end of one, it was 8-0 Morgan.
Yeah, they just swarmed the quarterback. They were sending a 5-man blitz quite often, and the offensive line for Crimson just could not hold them off.
Mm-hmm.
They had a nice stern talking to from their coaches, and coming into that second quarter, it just changed. They were able to hold off the offense a ton.
Mm-hmm.
they put they were able to just put easy points on the board just because they were getting the ball back inside the 50-yard line, right? Like they were already in Morgan territory to start their drives multiple times in that second quarter. That's why they scored 21 points as easily as they did.
Yeah.
In that second quarter, they were just readily available. That defense led to offense.
Yeah.
And that's what you want from your defense. You want your defense to easily lead you to good, sustainable offense. And if you look at the offensive numbers, there's not a lot of them,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just because the defense made it easy for them to just
Yeah.
score.
Yeah. Short fields.
Short fields.
Yep.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah, so they're getting their season started off the way that they were expecting to, for sure, and really kind of what we were expecting as well. Again, number 1 ranked defense in the state, and they're definitely looking for a great season, and that's the way you start off.
Yeah.
Beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. We didn't know much about Morgan as far as what they were going to be like, because they did lose a lot of players from that incredible team last year. So we didn't really know a ton, but I was just like, man, beware though, Crimson. Beware, because you just don't know about that program at Morgan.
You never know.
But they did. They came out, like you said, they started off a little slow, started off with a safety, and then Morgan, a 34-yard pass from Sheffield to Nelson. But then that was pretty much it until the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Good job, Crimson.
I will say this over on Max Prep, and I don't know who does these rankings, but the power rankings after week 1 does have Crimson on top at number 1, and Stansbury's number 2. Surprisingly, after a loss, Desert Hills is still number 3, though.
Yeah. Again, well, Brighton 5A.
And a
good
good
team.
5A.
That's not a bad loss for Desert Hills.
It's really not. So Desert Hill's still pretty high up there on the list. You have Park City Provo to round off the top 5. Snow Canyon comes in at 8. Dixie comes in at 12. Cedar is still 14, pretty high on the list. Pineview jumped up a ton. They're at 17 now. And Hurricane is at 20.
Okay.
So, and that's of 27.
27. Yep.
So, not a bad place to be for some of our 4A Region 9 schools. Again, Crimson being on top is awesome for them. And real quick, let's go over. Let's take a look at what is going on next week, our schedule for next week, and we'll let you know as well what games you can catch here on the Fan Sports Network. So you'll have Snow Canyon at Manti, a lot of away games this week. So be prepared. Not a lot going on around here at home. Not far up the road, though, Pineview is going to be going to Canyon View. We'll have Moapa Valley coming in to take on Hurricane. Mountain Ridge is coming in to take on Dixie. Desert Hills is on the road at Lehigh. Crimson Cliffs also on the road at Bingham. And then Cedar heading to Juab. So, with that said, we have 3 games being broadcast on the Fan Sports Network. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube page, or, of course, just bookmark thefansportsnetwork.com on your phone. We have Moapa Valley and Hurricane, Mountain Ridge and Dixie. We'll cover those 2 games since they are our 2 games being played here in Washington County. And then we decided Mark and I are going to just take a road trip, and we'll go check out that Desert Hills Lehigh game. So we'll bring you that one as well.
Yeah, and again, that's something that we put a lot of thought into here as the Fan Sports team kind of met with that. Do we want to go up there and incur those traveling expenses and things like that? And you know what? For you, the fans, we decided to go up there and broadcast that game for you guys. So Thunder family and other Region 9 family, if you're interested in this game, we will have it on the Fan Sports Network.
Yes, we will. Yeah, so we're gonna have those games readily available for you. And I don't know if any of the other schools do any sort of broadcasting. If so, we'll see if we can maybe try to help with some links or something to some of those games as well. But That's what we have going on. Lots of games again this week, so it should be fun. This preseason, there's just so much to cover because there are so many games.
Yeah, that's what I love about getting done with preseason too. Then we can just focus on Region 9 when it's Dixie versus Pineview, Snow Canyon versus Desert Hills, Crimson versus Cedar. I just love those Region 9 rivalries and keep it all in-house here. That way we've got great coverage as well because we'll be covering 3 games a night, which is your complete Region 9 schedule every Friday night.
That's right. All right, let's see. Yeah, we can take a break.
Yes, take a break.
Let's take a break. We'll wrap up the 4 o'clock hour and return here on From the Bleachers. Stick around.
Hey, it's Caden Formaster.
And Mark Musgrave, the voice you know with the Fan Sports Network.
Check out our local sports radio show, From the Bleachers, live every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m.
Listen to us on the radio on 99.5 or 95.3 FM.
You can also listen through the Fan Sports Network app or watch the show live on the Fan Sports Network YouTube page.
The Fan Sports Network is your home of Utah Tech Trailblazers, high school sports, and the pros.
The Fan Sports Network, Southern Utah's home for local sports.
Did you know that St. George News has a new app? Download the St. George News app today and stay up to date on everything happening in Southern Utah. Get instant notifications on news, weather, sports, and more. Download the app today and get your local news now.
Media is everywhere. It's a part of our daily life, our routine, not just for entertainment, but to stay informed. Local media has the biggest impact on your daily life. It's what's around you, what matters. And at Canyon Media, our goal is to deliver the very best in local entertainment, news, and media. From our award-winning radio stations like 99.9 Coney Country to Southern Utah's #1 source for local news, St. George News, we believe in delivering free, fast, and accurate local news, entertainment, and information to all of Southern Utah through our entertaining on-air personalities and music, compelling local shows, and community events like the City of St. George 4th of July celebration and charitable events like Coney Coins for Kids. From our entire team of dedicated designers, videographers, salespeople, digital marketers, writers, and on-air talent, thank you for letting us be a part of your daily life. Canyon Media, here for you.
Hey, it's Sheldon Demke. Check out the latest episode of What's on the Menu, a behind-the-scenes tour of local restaurants. We'll see some of their favorite dishes and get an inside look on how these dishes are prepared. Check out this week's episode at stgeorgenews.com and click the shows on the menu tab. Check out this week's edition of TGIF on stgeorgenews.com. TGIF is your weekend adventure guide to all the fun and exciting things going on in Southern Utah this weekend. Find this week's edition at stgeorgenews.com and click the shows on the menu tab. Have a blast this weekend.
As a local business owner, it's important to get the word out about your business. More people equals more revenue for you. Get your business in front of over 160,000 people in Southern Utah each week with St. George News. Contact St. George News today.
Welcome back in, everybody. It is From the Bleachers here on the Fan Sports Network. Caden Formaster, Mark Musgrave.
The voice you know.
Back at it here in the Findlay Hyundai studio, bringing you some local Southern Utah sports talk radio.
Yeah, well, before we finish up with Region 9, volleyball, and some soccer, I got something here for you, Caden.
All right, what do you got?
Pop culture.
Okay.
The biggest jerk in pop culture history.
Are we talking an on-screen jerk, or are we talking like
On-screen.
an actor? Okay.
On screen. So here's your number one seeds. Okay, they did this in March Madness bracket form.
I have one in
Okay.
mind, but I want to see if this person makes it.
So here's the number one seeds.
Okay.
You had George Costanza. You had Shooter McGavin.
Ooh, that's a good one.
You had Biff Tannen from Back to the Future.
Of course.
And Squidward from SpongeBob. Okay.
I wouldn't put him as a 1 seed.
Those
but-
are your 1 seeds.
Okay.
Now, here's some. How is Jim Halpert on here? He wasn't was he a jerk? I guess to Dwight.
Jim's
He was a
yeah.
9 seed, so he wasn't, high.
he's just a prankster.
Ferris Bueller was on this
He's
list.
also a prankster.
A
Him and Jim have very similar
Yeah.
style.
Let's see here. Steve Stifler from American Pies.
Oh yeah.
Now he was a jerk.
Yeah,
Stifler's definitely a jerk. Newman from Seinfeld on here as well. Yeah, just looking on here. Cartman from South Park.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Cartman's a jerk. He's
So
funny.
anyway-
He's funny, but he's a jerk.
So here is the final. Let's see. It was Shooter McGavin versus Larry David on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Who wins that?
All right, which one again? Give me there.
Shooter McGavin
Shooter. Okay, Shooter
from
and
Happy
Larry,
Gilmore
and Larry David.
and Larry David from Curb Your
I
Enthusiasm.
mean, I'd say Shooter.
Yeah, it was Shooter. Shooter did beat him out. Okay, so
I hate Shooter.
so you have Shooter in the finals.
okay.
Okay, now who won between Biff Tannen and Cartman?
I'm gonna guess Biff because probably more people have seen Back to the Future.
Cartman was actually the winner in that
Oh,
one.
Okay.
I don't know South Park, so I'm going to have to take your word for this.
And I only know it just a little. I
Do
haven't
ya?
watched a ton of
Okay.
South Park, but I know the characters. and
Because
stuff.
Biff is pretty big jerk.
Well, Cartman is like, I would say Cartman's the main character of South Park, and the whole point of South Park is there is no point to it. But
That's true.
but him as a character is
Okay.
just being a jerk to his friends.
Okay, so you got Shooter
Yeah.
McGavin versus Cartman. Who won the biggest jerk
Man, I still
in
think
pop
Shooter.
culture? Shooter
I
McGavin
still think
did
Shooter.
win.
Yep, that's
He
a
did.
good one.
Yep, he is the biggest jerk in pop culture history, according to The Ringer.
All right, I like it.
So, anyways,
I mean, the dude literally stole Happy
McGavin.
Gilmore's grandma's house.
he did. Yeah, big
stole,
jerk.
He stole a house
Big time jerk.
right out from underneath her.
Yeah. No, he's a jerk.
He's
No
a jerk.
question about it.
He's a jerk.
Then he hired that.
He hired the dude to come run down Happy Gilmore in
Absolutely.
the car,
Absolutely.
and then he had to play the ball off the dude's foot.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. All right, let's get into it. Region 9. We have soccer and volleyball.
Yeah.
We'll let you start with volleyball.
Yeah, not a whole lot going on yet, but there were some matches that kind of get things going here. Hurricane right now is 2-0. Starting off
good.
the season really good. Snow Canyon 1-1. Crimson Cliffs 0-1. I will tell you there was, let's see, Hurricane and Timpview. So Timpview beat Crimson 3-2, and Hurricane beat Timpview 3-1. So again, I don't know if that's a telling sign of where Crimson Cliffs is, where Hurricane is, but again, you get those common opponents, and that's always kind of fun to look at. More matches really kind of gearing up this week. I know Desert Hills and Orem tomorrow night. Crimson Cliffs and Orem, I believe tonight, if I'm not mistaken. It is, 7 o'clock tonight. So, there's going to be a lot more games and matches starting up this week. I know Desert Hills is hosting a few teams in the tournament this weekend as well. Or no, that's in 2 weeks, sorry. But yeah, a lot of games, a lot of matches really start getting going here this week, and we'll keep you up to date here on Region 9 Volleyball.
Very good. Yeah. Let's take a look over at soccer. Region 9 soccer standings right now. Hurricane is on top with a 2-1 record.
Look at Hurricane go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's early, but they're also up in volleyball too.
It is early, but they only having one loss. That's going to help you out a lot. They are the only team with only one loss right now, which is fantastic. Desert Hills is the team with the most wins. They have a 3-2 record. Crimson Cliff, Snow Canyon, Cedar, all sitting at 2-2. And then Dixie and Pineview still trying to get those first wins, which they got some games coming up this week. So kind of looking ahead to upcoming games, you have Snow Canyon at Pineview tomorrow night. Again, this is all region play now, which is fantastic. We're getting to some region play early. Dixie is at Desert Hills tomorrow as well, 7:30 for all these games. And then Cedar is at Hurricane. That is going to be a great matchup, by the way. Cedar at Hurricane. Cedar sitting at 2-2, Hurricane at 2-1. Which one's going to get 3 wins on them? Desert Hills, like I said, is at 3 wins. Dixie yet to get a win. Pineview yet to get a win. So I would say Snow Canyon is heavily the favorite against Pineview. Desert Hills is the favorite against Dixie. That Cedar Hurricane game is going to be awesome.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep our eyes on that and see who comes out on top. You know, I was talking to one of the Crimson coaches today for volleyball, and we were just talking about how it's going to be so much more difficult to win a state title, as it should be.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about on the show here before, only having 13 teams in 4A last year, you know, Region 10 and Region 11 at the time. Only 13 teams. We talked about this on the show several times. There's really only 5 teams out of 2 regions that's really competing for a national or for a national title, for a state title. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the bottom 2 or 3 teams in each region really don't stand a shot. And I'm talking any sport.
Yeah, we're not talking
basketball, baseball,
specifically one sport.
Volleyball, tennis. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But man, you add another 14 teams to the region to where we're 27 teams. Now, winning a state title, it's going to be a tough road because you're going to see some tougher matches earlier on in the playoffs.
Yes.
You're not going to get the 7th seed out of Cache Valley, out of Region 11, previously Region 11, you know, to advance. It's going to be tougher from the get-go, right out of round 1.
Well, in those round 1 matchups, I mean, the way that it's going to work is there'll be probably about 5 teams that'll get a bye, we'll say. Something like that, right? There'll be enough where, if trying to do the math, there's, there will probably be at least 3 or 4, we'll say, that get a bye, right? So when you're looking at it, there's going to be some really good matchups around your 15th and 16th ranked teams that'll probably be going up against each other.
Yeah.
Because they'll still probably do it in a way where, let's say, 4 teams get a bye. Okay, well, that means Team 5 is going to be taking on Team 27 in round 1, right? Okay, well, you're going to meet in the middle with some of those. So those teen spots around your 10 to 17, anywhere in between there, all fantastic games. Those are all going to be really good ones. You're going to start seeing some underdogs that are a 17th ranked team take down a 10th ranked team or whatever,
and
right?
See, I would rather see this. I'd rather nobody gets a bye, and then there's 5 or 6 teams that don't even make the playoffs.
And I would rather see that too.
Because here's
personally.
the deal. Really, again, what are the chances of the 27th seed winning the state title, or the 26th, or the 25th, or the 24th? Why? I don't know. I would rather. I'm just not a big fan. I'm not a fan at all of every team making postseason play. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I just looked just to double check. They haven't put out any sort of a football bracket yet.
Okay.
They will put out a bracket ahead of time just so everyone kind of knows dates and times.
I want to kind of look at that when it comes out because, again, I just think that's silly.
Yeah, but that's how they've just been doing it recently. Maybe with this new realignment, they'll change their minds and realize it's okay to not have the 27th team who hasn't won a game all season playing against a team that only had 1 loss.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all.
Because you're very rarely going to have upsets. So it just doesn't happen. Doesn't happen.
Not in that big of not in that wide of a span. No.
No, they're just not going to. So let's take a break. We got more coming up. Top of the hour, 5 o'clock. It's coming up next. We got Fan, Not a Fan. Stick around.
it's Caden Formaster.
And Mark Musgrave, the voice you know with the Fan Sports Network.
Check out our local sports radio show From the Bleachers live every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m.
Listen to us on the radio on 99.5 or 95.3 FM.
You can also listen through the Fan Sports Network app or watch the show live on the Fan Sports Network YouTube page.
The Fan Sports Network is your home of Utah Tech Trailblazers, high school sports, and the pros.
The Fan Sports Network, Southern Utah's home for local sports.
Did you know that St. George News has a new app? Download the St. George News app today and stay up to date on everything happening in Southern Utah. Get instant notifications on news, weather, sports, and more. Download the app today and get your local news now.
Media is everywhere. It's a part of our daily life, our routine, not just for entertainment, but to stay informed. Local media has the biggest impact on your daily life. It's what's around you, what matters. And at Canyon Media, our goal is to deliver the very best in local entertainment, news, and media. From our award-winning radio stations like 99.9 Coney Country to Southern Utah's #1 source for local news, St. George News, we believe in delivering free, fast, and accurate local news, entertainment, and information to all of Southern Utah through our entertaining on-air personalities and music, compelling local shows, and community events like the City of St. George 4th of July celebration and charitable events like Coney Coins for Kids. From our entire team of dedicated designers, videographers, salespeople, digital marketers, writers, and on-air talent, thank you for letting us be a part of your daily life. Canyon Media, here for you.
Hey, it's Sheldon Demke. Check out the latest episode of What's on the Menu, a behind-the-scenes tour of local restaurants. We'll see some of their favorite dishes and get an inside look on how these dishes are prepared. Check out this week's episode at stgeorgenews.com and click the shows on the menu tab. Check out this week's edition of TGIF on stgeorgenews.com. TGIF is your weekend adventure guide to all the fun and exciting things going on in Southern Utah this weekend. Find this week's edition at stgeorgenews.com and click the shows on the menu tab. Have a blast this weekend.
As a local business owner, it's important to get the word out about your business. More people equals more revenue for you. Get your business in front of over 160,000 people in Southern Utah each week with St. George News. Contact St. George News today.
Welcome back in, everybody. It is From the Bleachers here on the Fan Sports Network. Caden Formaster and Mark Musgrave.
The voice you know.
And we welcome you into 5 o'clock here in the Findlay Hyundai studio. Mark, normally we talk about our weekends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on our Mondays, we kind of just dove right into sports. But I got to tell you, we're doing something a little different when it comes to football coverage on Friday nights. And I love it. I think it's great. It means we're bringing more coverage to the people here in Southern Utah.
Mhm.
And so Friday night, post game, I come to the studio, come to the office right here in the Fan Sports Network, and drop off a bunch of equipment from being out at Crimson Cliffs. And
Right.
we still have our post game show still going on right here in the studio. And you know what? I hopped on a mic. I joined them for a little bit. We hopped on the mic, and we had Spencer, who's running the board, which big
Right.
shout out to Spencer for taking on those duties. It was the first time that he had ever really taken this hot seat right here, pushing all the buttons. So
Right.
he did a fantastic job. Spencer, we had Devin Dixon, myself, we had Cece, Connor was in here, and Paulie was in here as well. So we had 5 of us that were all here that just kind of migrated afterwards to the studio. Wrapped up everything going on with our Region 9 recap show. And we finally got out of here. By the time we got out of here, it was about 11:15 at night.
Amazing.
And because of everything going on Friday, I had a very busy schedule. I didn't have dinner on Friday night. So I'm
Did they
leaving.
not feed you at
Well,
Crimson?
they never feed us at Crimson.
Oh, we've got to make
Crimson?
an email. I'll put together a strongly worded email
They
for
feed
you.
me at Dixie.
Yeah.
All the time they feed me
Well,
at Dixie.
they feed you at Desert Hills too.
I rarely go to Desert Hills, but they do feed me at Desert Hills.
So I'll put together a strongly worded email to their athletic director and get that taken care of.
By the
because
way,
that should not happen.
I will say this. Gabby, their new athletic director over there, is a gem of a person.
She is.
And she was
I know.
amazing to work with. And as her first year as AD, they had to deal with lightning delays. They had to deal with volleyball going on at the same time as football. There was stuff going on in the gym as well. She was running all over. And I said, hey, after the game was over, she's like, I can't wait to go home. She's like, I'm so tired. And I was like, you did a fantastic job. I'm like, with everything that went on today, I'm like, you nailed it.
Speaking of that, speaking of volleyball and lightning delay, I was talking to one of the Crimson volleyball coaches today, and he was saying, he goes, lightning delay happened, and all of a sudden, the gym was packed.
Yeah,
Ooh,
everyone went inside.
Gym was packed, and he goes, then we called a timeout, and I looked up, and then everybody was gone.
You're all back outside. It's true. A lot of people went inside because they did make an announcement and said, lightning delays, please find shelter and safety, whatever. And they did make mention. And there is a volleyball game going on right now in the gym.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, all right, we'll go inside.
I would have.
And they did. And a lot of people went in and supported the volleyball for a little bit. But anyway, so my point is, in my story, so I left here at 11:15 or so. Because I have a long drive ahead of me. I didn't make it home till midnight. I was starving. So at midnight, I'm grilling hot dogs in my house.
Wow.
I am so
Why
hungry.
didn't you stop at something
Dude,
on your way out?
I was going to stop at McDonald's, and guess what?
Don't tell me they're closed.
No, a line to the road. The one just
At
right here
midnight?
on Main Street in Bluff. It was like 11:15.
Yeah, that's close to midnight.
There was a line. Like, there had to have been a solid, I don't know, 20 cars in that line. I was like, I'm not stopping. I could have stopped at like Maverick and got a snack, but at that point I was like, I just want to get home. So I was grilling hot dogs at midnight on Friday night, Saturday morning.
Well, Saturday night,
it's a good time.
Macy and I, we went down to Las Vegas Ballpark, saw the Aviators and River Cats play. And I was telling you this earlier today.
Yeah.
I'll share with the listeners. So we were sitting behind home plate. Matt Neverett, who we have on our show, and I did talk to him. He'd love to come on Tuesday as well, tomorrow. Talking to Matt, he hooked us up and got us some great seats. So again, thank you, Las Vegas Aviators. There was a guy sitting right behind us that was just analyzing and breaking down every pitch, every play, all the rule changes of baseball, when the timer would start with the pitcher and just break down and analyzing everything. I'm like, oh my goodness. In fact, I texted Matt and I said, dude, there's a guy in the stands here and he is coming for your job. And Matt texted back kind of laughing, I'll bet he's doing a better job. And I told him, I said, I promise you, he's not.
He's not.
So, anyways, we had to move down about 6 or 7 seats. Thank goodness the row that we were sitting on was quite available. And so we moved down and then really enjoyed the game. It was a 10-8 win for the Aviators over the River Cats. It was an entertaining game. So much fun that we went down there. We went shopping a little bit first. Then we went to Cheesecake Factory and then went to Las Vegas Ballpark and then came home. And we'll be giving away some Aviator tickets in a couple of weeks. They've got 2 straight weeks that they're on the road. But after that, we'll give out some Aviator tickets as well. And I tell you, just make a day of it. Like I said, we didn't leave here until afternoon. But we still had plenty of time to go down there, do some shopping, go to dinner at Cheesecake Factory, and then go to an entertaining, great ballpark, and then we came home.
Nice. That sounds like a good Saturday
It was
night.
It was a great Saturday night.
That sounds fun. Hey, quick update to my McDonald's story.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Over on YouTube, DJ sent us a message in the chat. He said, I was at McDonald's at 11:15 Friday night, and I said, there were a lot of people. He says, yeah, I was one of them. Thank you for confirming my story, because, yes, there were a lot of people.
And also, DJ, thank you for being one of those cars that made Caden go all the way home.
Yeah, I decided not to hit up McDonald's. It's fine.
DJ, thanks for listening and being
watching.
part of our YouTube. Absolutely,
Yeah.
man. We love that.
Well, let's get into our next segment. It's time for Fan Not a Fan. Mark, are you ready to see if you are a fan or not a fan
All right.
of these things? Let me get to my notes here. Starting off, number 1.
Okay.
Ezekiel Elliott joining the Patriots. Fan, not a fan.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan because Zeke needed a change of scenery. Not a fan that. Well, no, I am a fan all the way around. Why not? Patriots, they need some talent back there. I think he should elevate to the number 1 in the depth chart as far as when the preseason's over, I would imagine. Zeke still has some stuff left in the tank. He's going to have that chip on his shoulder pad to let the Cowboys know that they made the wrong decision. I think if the Patriots get a motivated Zeke Elliott, that could be good for the Patriots, bad for the AFC East, and bad for the Cowboys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And anytime there's anything bad that happens to the Cowboys,
it makes
we're
me
both on
really
board with
happy. I love it when the Cowboys go down, man. That's my favorite thing in the world. By the way, 1-year deal up to $6 million.
Yeah.
Is what he's getting. So it's not a big deal.
Not a big deal. But hey, again, a motivated Zeke Elliott, $6 million 1-year contract. He's going to want to play well. He's going to be motivated to get maybe a 2 or 3-year contract to kind of maybe finish out his career and, maybe try to get into that 10 million category.
He's just got to do better than last year, which was his career low of 3.8 yards a carry.
Yeah.
He did not break 1,000 either. So can he break 1,000? Can he get better than 3.8 yards? That's the question with him. So you're kind of saying fan?
I'm a fan. And so
you're laughing, you're giggling.
Well, I just got a text from one of our listeners who's a Cowboys fan. They just asking us to please stop with the Cowboy trash talk, and I understand.
I will give the Cowboys credit when they do something good. I will trash on them as a fan of not the Cowboys.
I mean, you're an Eagles fan, so,
And you know what? If we had a Cowboys fan on the show, I expect them to trash the Eagles because that's just what we do.
That's exactly what
and we do it with love. That's what we do. Let's go to the next one. Fan, not a fan. Russell Wilson, he's just going to have a bad season this year.
I'm hoping so.
Preseason didn't look good for him.
Yeah.
He got in a little bit in preseason. It wasn't pretty.
Right.
You're hoping so? You're a fan of him not having a good season?
Yeah, because I think Russell Wilson is past his prime. I didn't see it in his last year with Seattle. And remember, Geno Smith came in the following year with the same team and did so much better than Russell Wilson.
Very good.
So he gets shipped off, goes to Denver. They have all these high expectations. Not only did he not perform, there was bad chemistry between the offense and the defense. the defense yelling at the offense, Russell Wilson in particular, to score points and him yelling back. I don't like it. I know Sean Payton's coming in. It's not going to be a quick fix. It's just not. Sean Payton in New Orleans was a great coach. Not going to take that away from him. He's got stats and wins and playoff wins to prove it. He's a good coach. I just don't think it's a quick fix. It doesn't fix this year. It blows my mind. And again, maybe this is me with my Raider goggles on. It blows my mind that the Broncos are, I saw one expert, quote unquote expert, having the Broncos win 9 games, 9-8, finishing third in the division, and the Raiders finishing 4 and whatever that would be, 12, 4 and 13. It blows my mind. My mind that everybody thinks that this is going to be a quick fix for the Broncos because they brought in Sean Payton. Nope, sorry. 5 wins.
I'm holding you to that.
Yeah, hold me to it.
We'll definitely have
and the Raiders won't have. The Raiders won't have much more. They'll have 7.
No, but we're going to have a segment here on the show in the next couple of weeks where we are going to give our predictions of where especially the AFC West, because that's the territory we're in. Where are these teams going to finish? Where are the Raiders going to finish? In that case, where does the rest of the AFC West finish?
Right.
And we'll get into all of that, division winners, that kind of thing, playoff predictions, all that's coming up. On the flip side of things, fan not a fan, Jordan Love with the Green Bay Packers, he's going to have a good season.
I'm a fan. I would love to see that. Being that he come from Utah, he's a legend. Well, he's replacing a legend that also replaced a legend.
Can he become the third legend in a row?
Can he become the third
Can he three-peat
one?
it?
That would be incredible.
And imagine if he does, and it's like, why were you waiting around for so long to play this kid? I'm not saying
because they had Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, exactly. They had Aaron Rodgers.
That's why. But I would love to see I would love to see Jordan Love play well, have a great season. I'm a big fan of that.
By the way, I'm not saying that Jordan Love is the next Aaron Rodgers, but I really don't think so because I think they would have found a way to play him earlier.
Yeah.
But I would love if he does get some playing time, and we realize this kid's got it. He's got whatever it is, right? We'll see. Let's switch a little bit. Fan, not a fan. We're going college football now. The AP poll came out, by the way.
Yeah.
For the first AP poll of the season. I know you're a Bama fan, so I'm going to ask
Tide,
you
baby.
How you feel about Alabama coming in 4th in the AP poll.
You know what? I like it. I'm a fan of that, and here's why. I want my football teams to play with a chip on their shoulder pad. I don't want them to be crowned number 1 before they even play a game. So I'm a fan of that. Saban will have his boys ready to go. And he will play on that and use that as motivating in his speeches, or his talks, I should say, pregame talks. I am a fan of that. And you know what? After last year, they need to go out and prove it.
Yeah.
They didn't have a Bama year last year.
I agree.
So I'm a fan of that.
Okay.
On multiple levels. I don't think they deserve any higher. But plus, I think Saban would be able to use that and have that chip on their shoulder.
Okay. Looking at the rest of the top 25, Utah is the only team from Utah to make the top 25. They come in at 14. Fan, not a fan?
I'm a fan.
You're all right with that? You're like, yeah, it's a good spot.
That's probably where they should be.
Okay.
As of right now.
By the way, when you look at the Pac-12, at least what's left of Pac-12 for this year, you have USC at 6.
Mm-hmm.
You have Washington at 10. Did I miss?
Oregon.
Nope, okay. Nope. Utah is at 14.
Okay.
And then it's Oregon at 15.
Wow.
And that is it for the Pac-12. Just those schools.
That's not bad.
So
four of them in the top 15.
I feel like Washington that high is a little weird. I feel like I would always switch. Remember, Utah's been to the Rose Bowl the last 2 years. They still have their starting quarterback in Cam Rising. They still have a lot of great returners. I know they lost Dalton Kincaid, but you know what? there's still some great talent. I'm surprised Utah's not a little higher up, but whatever. Okay, so yeah, fan of 14. That makes sense to you. You're happy with it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at last one. Thoughts on this? Fan, not a fan. The Colts just need to trade Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor, I think if you're Jonathan Taylor, you would welcome that, especially if you were going to a team that has postseason, hopes and dreams. I don't think anybody on the Colts, even Colts Nation, I don't think that you would be, fighting anybody that says the Colts aren't going to the playoffs. I don't think that they are. I don't think people are.
They're not expected.
They're not expected to. So if you're looking at this from Jonathan Taylor, I would be a fan of that. If you're looking at it from the Colts side of it, you need some name power to put some butts in the seats still. So two answers. I'm not fence sitting here, but two answers. I'm a fan of it if you're on Jonathan Taylor's side of it, not a fan of it if you're on the Colts side of it, because again, you need some star power, you need some name power. Jonathan Taylor does bring you that. But if you're Jonathan Taylor, yeah, move me. I don't want to be part of a rebuilding process.
Well, and they're not
I'm
paying
an
him
established
anyway.
running back.
Remember, that's the thing, is they're just not paying him what he deserves to be paid. Running backs are really, they're kind of getting the shaft right now when it comes to paying. That's not why Zeke left, but that is why the Raiders are in the position that they're in right now
sure.
with Josh Jacobs. They didn't really want to give him that extension or that bonus or whatever you want to say, or redo that contract. Same thing with the Colts and Jonathan Taylor.
And
where does that put him? I don't know.
And I know that there's been rumors of Josh Jacobs being traded and things like that. We need to get Q on here to give us kind of an inside look at what's going on at Raiders camp. But I do expect him to be in the starting lineup in game one. I just don't know how you sit out a year. Like, he doesn't have to come back. No. He hasn't signed the franchise tag, so he won't get fined. He's not getting fined for sitting out right now.
Because he's not technically, he's on the team.
But he is on the team because he can't just go play for another team.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to show up.
So, yeah, exactly. So
it's confusing, I know.
He would,
but
I just don't know how you would pass up. I think that franchise tag was a $12 million or $10 million. I just don't know how you pass that up.
Yeah.
You may not be happy with it, and I don't agree with it. I think the Raiders should sign him to a 3-year deal for, whether it's incentives or whatever, but make it worth 15 to 18 million.
I was thinking 15. Yeah, that's where mine went. My mind went.
He's coming back. He's the leader in rushing last year. Reward him with a contract. And that's what I would love to see the Raiders do. But again, it's a business. And I don't know the inner works of the NFL and its business. I know it's a business, and right now, running backs just aren't valued.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't agree with it, but that's the way that it is. But again, leading rusher in the league, reward that guy. Reward him with, even if it's incentive laden, and reward him. Give him a $15 to $18 million contract. Get him in training camp.
Yeah. I agree 100%. I'm with you. I'm also on board.
I just remember a time, and it wasn't long ago, that running backs were, the studs of your team. They were Heisman Trophy winners. They were, the most important player on your team other than maybe the quarterback, and in some cases more important than the quarterback. And that time it just disappeared so quickly. I don't know how that happened, but it did.
Yeah.
So weird.
I think part of it is defenses figured out what running backs are doing. They're stopping running backs. Quarterbacks are getting better with their receivers.
But they're not stopping. Josh Jacobs ran for 1,700 yards. Christian McCaffrey, when healthy, he does it all. He receives passes. He runs the ball. I mean, nobody touches the ball more than him.
But it's just the evolution of football as a whole is what I'm saying,
Other
right?
than the center and the quarterback, nobody touches the ball more than the running back.
And that's the thing. When you have a really, really, really good running back like Josh Jacobs, then absolutely, you're right about that. But as a whole of the game of football, it's gone a lot more to a pass-happy offense.
It has been. Yeah, no question about it. The game has evolved to, pass the ball first. You pass the ball to run the ball. Used to be just the opposite back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and the 2000s. You ran the ball to pass the ball.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When you have these tandems where you have a quarterback that can just throw dimes and a receiver that can get open, that's what teams are kind of looking for. Because if you can go and get 15 yards no matter what, because they're running a 15-yard crossing route or something like that, right? Or do you give it to your running back who he's got to plow through an entire defensive line and he'll maybe get 15 yards?
Yeah.
You want to go with the thing that's a little more surefire, which is passing the ball to the guy that you know is going to catch it at 15 yards. If your running back's not a for sure thing, it's a little, running backs are a little bit of a gamble.
But you still have to be able to run the ball because then your safeties don't have to crash into the box. Your safeties can actually double coverage those guys. You have to be able to run the ball to
and that's
pass
the thing.
ball.
You have to have both elements of your game. But I think my point is it's just become so much of an emphasis on the passing game that the running game is just so secondary now to the passing game. They'll run a million different passing plays just so they don't have to run the ball, right? They'll figure out a million different ways to pass the ball so that the running ball can be kind of the last thing to worry about.
I hope a running team wins the Super Bowl this year.
I honestly, I'm on board with you. The thing is, I agree with you. I'm kind of playing my own devil's advocate here and trying to understand why running backs are kind of just thrown to the side a little bit right now, and that's part of it.
Yeah.
They're just not as respected as they once were, even though they're just as good as they've been.
Yeah,
There's some really
they
good
used
backs.
to win Heisman trophies.
Yeah. Anyways, I was fan, not a fan. There's a lot of good information in there, and obviously the running back conversation can get us a little fired up.
Yeah.
As it should.
Yeah, as it should.
As it should.
Again, we looked at that franchise tag. It has gone up on every single player since that stat. I wish I knew where I saw that stat where, quarterbacks, it went up from, it has doubled, if not tripled. Wide receivers, it doubled.
Defensive ends have gone up like crazy. Linebackers, that kind of stuff.
And running backs, it's gone down. It's the only position that it went down. Even kickers and punters, it went up. Not a big percentage, but at least it went up, at least with some inflation.
Yeah.
Running backs went the opposite way. I understand why they're a little taken back right now, for sure.
I'd be mad too.
Yeah.
I'd be mad too.
Because you've got to have a running game to be successful in the NFL.
And if I were...
Imagine running backs. They probably can't do this because of, they're not in the collective bargaining agreement and in the Players Association. They're not specified in positions.
Yeah,
but just imagine if the running backs just put up the middle finger and said, you know what, we're not coming.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Or what if they were like, all right, I'm a receiver now.
Yeah.
Put me on the receivers list. I'm not a running back.
Yeah. I don't know how all that
Give me a
works
receivers
out.
franchise tag.
Yeah. Christian McCaffrey's talented enough. He could be. He could be a slot receiver easily.
I think even Josh Jacobs could.
Yeah. He's more of a true running back. But
you have some that are a little a little bit more of a true running back. Like your Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry, true running back, yeah.
If you had to, you'd have to sign him up as a tight end, maybe.
But it's just so, I don't know how all that,
you know what I mean,
plays out. I don't know how that part of the business works. Like, who designates him as a running back? Is it just because he's
just because that's what they were in college and that's what they draft him as, or what?
BYU,
Jamal Williams?
No,
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill. What's he classified as? Like if
quarterback,
if he got franchise tagged, would he be a franchise tag as a quarterback, tight end, wide receiver?
I think he's technically classified as a quarterback, even though he plays. I don't know. I think he actually plays the most time at quarterback, but that's just because they'll bring him in on like a 3rd and 7.
Oh, New Orleans, please put the franchise tag on him this year. I would love to
I
see
just want to know.
just the chaos that brings.
Yeah, I want to know how they tag him.
Yeah.
That is interesting. I don't know how they tag him.
I don't either. I don't know how all that works, but
And now I'm curious what they're going to do with Derek Carr in the mix, how they're going to use Taysom Hill.
I think the way they used him with
Drew
Drew
Brees.
Brees, yeah.
Probably just, again, they used him in a lot of third down sets.
Wildcat situation.
Like third downs, long third downs in the red zone is where they really use Taysom Hill a lot.
I think they'll
Or
use,
they'd roll him out as a second tight end.
and Taysom Hill was great when Drew Brees was the quarterback. I
Yeah.
mean, that Swiss Army knife.
He ran some
Taysom
good
Hill
routes
was
as
fantastic.
He ran some good routes as a second
Yeah.
tight end.
Yeah, so I think it'll be very similar to
So-
when Drew Brees was quarterback. Short yardage, wildcat situations, stuff like that.
Yeah. And even on special teams, he's a good special teams
Mhm.
dude. I don't know. I like him all across the board.
Yeah.
I think he's just a good football player.
Yeah.
I'm a big Taysom Hill fan. And I'm not even that big of a BYU fan. I'm just a Taysom Hill fan.
Yeah, BYU.
Yeah, I don't mind BYU. They're there.
That's
They're
about
fine.
it.
They're fine. I like to cheer on our in-state schools, so I will cheer for BYU when they're playing just about anybody. But then when they play the schools that I like, or even like Utah, when they play Utah, it depends on the year, I guess. Sometimes I like the underdog to win, so we'll see. But
Yeah.
a lot of times I'll cheer on Utah. I don't know. I don't really have a favorite when it comes to in-state schools. So, all right, let's take a break. We've been chit-chatting long enough. Let's get to a break. We'll be back with more coming up next.
Hey, it's Caden Formaster.
And Mark Musgrave, the voice you know with the Fan Sports Network.
Check out our local sports radio show From the Bleachers live every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m.
Listen to us on the radio on 99.5 or 95.3 FM.
You can also listen through the Fan Sports Network app or watch the show live on the Fan Sports Network YouTube page.
The Fan Sports Network is your home of Utah Tech Trailblazers, high school sports, and the pros.
The Fan Sports Network, Southern Utah's home for local sports.
Did you know that St. George News has a new app? Download the St. George News app today and stay up to date on everything happening in Southern Utah. Get instant notifications on news, weather, sports, and more. Download the app today and get your local news now.
Media is everywhere. It's a part of our daily life, our routine, not just for entertainment, but to stay informed. Local media has the biggest impact on your daily life. It's what's around you, what matters. And at Canyon Media, our goal is to deliver the very best in local entertainment, news, and media. From our award-winning radio stations like 99.9 Coney Country to Southern Utah's #1 source for local news, St. George News, we believe in delivering free, fast, and accurate local news, entertainment, and information to all of Southern Utah through our entertaining on-air personalities and music, compelling local shows, and community events like the City of St. George 4th of July celebration and charitable events like Coney Corns for Kids. From our entire team of dedicated designers, videographers, salespeople, digital marketers, writers, and on-air talent, thank you for letting us be a part of your daily life. Canyon Media, here for you.
Hey, it's Sheldon Demke. Check out the latest episode of What's on the Menu, a behind-the-scenes tour of local restaurants. We'll see some of their favorite dishes and get an inside look on how these dishes are prepared. Check out this week's episode at stgeorgenews.com and click the shows on the menu tab. Check out this week's edition of TGIF on stgeorgenews.com. TGIF is your weekend adventure guide to all the fun and exciting things going on in Southern Utah this weekend. Find this week's edition at stgeorgenews.com and click the shows on the menu tab. Have a blast this weekend.
As a local business owner, it's important to get the word out about your business. More people equals more revenue for you. Get your business in front of over 160,000 people in Southern Utah each week with St. George News. Contact St. George News today.
Here on the Fan Sports Network, it is Caden Formaster and Mark Musgrave.
The voice you know.
5:30. That first break went a long time. We had a good long first break.
God,
but
anytime we start talking NFL, we just get talking.
yeah. Well, we got more NFL. We're not done talking NFL, which is exciting for us. I love me some NFL. So let's get to one of my favorite segments. And by the way, for those who maybe are new to the show, this is something we did last year. This is our way to talk about some of just the highlights, maybe some stats we find interesting, our way of diving in to some of maybe just the things going on in the NFL. They could be big things. They could be small things. Maybe it's just a bright spot. Maybe it's a dark spot. It could be anything. It's just our way to talk about the NFL. It's what we call 4 downs. So let's get into it here with 4 downs. Mark, do you want to take it away with our first down?
I'm going to start right here.
All right, take it away with first down.
And I'm going to kind of throw you for a loop, though, because this is not NFL.
Okay.
4 downs. How about 4 bases?
Ooh, a little bit of baseball.
Yeah, a little bases.
All right,
I don't know
all
if I
right.
can change that up a little bit.
I'll let you. I don't care.
My Los Angeles Dodgers. Yeah, I
Okay.
said mine. They are currently on an 8-game winning streak. Hottest team in baseball right now. They are playing really, really well. They just kind of took care of the, let's see. Who did they just beat? The Colorado Rockies. So they had 2 division opponents. They've swept them both, one being the Arizona Diamondbacks, and then they hosted the Colorado Rockies, and they sweep them as well. Now, here's my gripe. I haven't been able to watch any of those games because for some strange reason, we're in the black hole here in Southern Utah where even with the MLB Extra Innings app, I can't watch the Rockies, nor can I watch the D-backs when they play the Dodgers.
And that is one of those that we definitely dive into many times. I hate blackout zones.
It angers
It's
me.
very annoying.
And again, I've said, I'm okay to be in one of those zones, but to be in both of them is crap.
Yep.
Anyways,
Yep.
but they have won 8 straight.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. Let's go to second down. Let's see what second down we got here. All right, second down. NFL Plus. NFL Plus was something that was launched last year. Okay? They are, of course, doing NFL Plus again this year. App where you can go and just watch extra NFL content. But this year they have added the NFL Network and NFL Red Zone. So if you want to watch NFL Red Zone and you don't have YouTube TV to watch Red Zone, you could get the NFL Plus app and watch Red Zone that way. It's going to cost you, so for $6.99 a month or for $50 a year, you get your live local and primetime regular season and postseason games. You have NFL Network live out-of-market preseason games. So whatever in-market is, you get that. You also get NFL films, things like that. Now, for premium, for the $14.99 a month or $100 a year, that's when you get your NFL Red Zone attached to it. So if you don't have Red Zone and you want to pay an extra $15, you could get Red Zone.
Why not? I mean, if you have DirecTV or Dish or another cable company, cable, who has cable? But that would be definitely an option for you to be caught up on all of your NFL games on Sundays, especially if you're a fantasy football player. That doesn't sound too bad. I kind of wish.
It's not bad.
I don't know why the NFL is such a money-making machine. I think they would make more money. And maybe YouTube paid them so much that they wouldn't. But why do they have to pair with DirecTV or YouTube TV? Why not just sell like MLB?
NBA does it.
NBA does it. MLB does it. I think it would make a lot more people happier, less less stressful on having to change their TV provider if they do want the NFL ticket and things like that. I don't know. Again, I don't know what YouTube TV. I'm sure we could find it, but I'm sure they paid a big chunk to get that, and maybe that makes up for the extra subscriptions that they would get. I don't know. You throw a $350, $399 subscription to anybody and everybody. I think you're money ahead.
I did a little bit of research. Here you go. DirecTV was paying $1.5 billion annually.
Wait, is that billion with a B?
With a B.
Huh.
Billion for Sunday Ticket.
Man.
YouTube TV is paying $2 billion annually.
Oh my God.
So add in $500 million, $500 million extra for YouTube to have it. So of course they're like, for $500,000 or for $500 million extra, sure.
Yeah,
We'll let
so
YouTube have it.
Maybe there isn't that many subscribers that would make up that extra $500 million or $2 billion to YouTube TV paid them.
It's a lot.
Dude, the NFL is they are such
money. They just print dollar bills, man.
My gosh.
They're printing Benjamins is what
Can
they're
they
printing.
do anything wrong? I mean, they can, but it just never
they can.
seems it never seems to affect the bottom dollar. Dude, they make money over there.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Jeez.
All right, Mark, I'll let you have it. It's third down.
Third down. Now, my thoughts on preseason.
I do. You love it. It's your favorite.
Love it. Yeah. It's really a telltale sign of what's going to happen in the regular season. But I have to take advantage of it while I have it. The Raiders win 34-7 over the San Francisco 49ers, the powerhouse out of the Bay Area. Again, I know it's only preseason, but I got to take advantage of it while I can. I don't know if I'm going to be able to say the Raiders beat whoever 34-7 during the regular season, because honestly, I still don't know what kind of team they're going to have. I mean, I don't know. So anyway, yeah, that's my third down. 34-7, Raiders over Niners.
Hey, and some positives to come out of this were the fact that Aiden O'Connell looked awesome.
That's what I heard.
So,
I didn't watch the game, and I haven't seen highlights, but I heard that he looked good.
So if Jimmy G goes down, knock on wood that he doesn't, because we know his health, and he tends to go down a lot. Aiden O'Connell looked actually really quite well.
Yeah.
He's 15 of 18. I'll take that.
That's
all
pretty
day
dang
long.
good. Yeah, absolutely.
All day long. All right, fourth down. Breaking news, too. For those who are just joining us, this is breaking news as of about half an hour ago now, but we're finally getting to it. Dalvin Cook signs with the New York Jets.
I think that's it blows my mind again that the Vikings just let him go. I mean, I don't know.
Me too.
I don't have the Vikings depth chart pulled up right now. I don't know if they have somebody on their roster that they're so impressed with that they're going to take over.
Alexander Mattinson. I mean, you tell me, are you excited about him?
I certainly wouldn't. I mean, he's not on my fantasy football radar, that's for sure. Maybe he should be.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have a really good passing attack. So maybe he'll get some good carries. But it just blows my mind that, again, these teams just letting these great running backs just go. I mean, Dalvin Cook.
Well, and now you have Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook as backs for the Jets. That's awesome.
Am I missing something here? Did Dalvin Cook have a horrible year last year or something?
Should we look up his stats?
Was he injured? I just don't know if I'm missing something here with the Vikings.
Last year, he had 1,173 yards, 8 touchdowns, 39 receptions. He averaged 4.4 carry.
I mean,
I will say this. It was his worst year that he's had as far as averaging yards goes. Obviously, his first 2 years, limited playing time. He was getting used to the system. He had less yards in those first 2 years. But it is
What year is he in?
his first year is 2017. So I mean,
So this is his either seventh
year.
season.
He's going into his seventh season. But here's the thing: last year he rushed for 1,173 yards. He's only rushed for more than that once. So last year wasn't overall not a bad year.
And I think
for Dalvin
that's
Cook.
about when they start thinking that running backs are going to start taking a nosedive. Is that year 7 or 8?
Yeah.
So maybe hey, we've talked about this before. One thing that I really truly believe Belichick did so good during those years with the Patriots. I know he's still with the Patriots, but he was always good about he would rather get rid of a player a year too soon than a year too late. So maybe the Vikings, that's kind of
then he goes and he picks up Zeke, so who knows?
Yeah, no kidding. But hey, a motivated Zeke could be a good Zeke, I'm telling you.
Now, Zeke, he started in 2016, was his first year.
Yeah.
So he's 1 year, not necessarily older. I don't know how old he is compared to Cook, but 1 year ahead of Dalvin Cook. He might be a year older. I'm not sure.
So, yeah, we'll just kind of see how that plays out. With the Vikings letting him go like that. And I think the Jets got better.
I think so too.
I mean,
I think they got a lot better with that
do
pickup.
too.
Not that they already had a decent running back room. Michael Carter was their number 2, and he was okay. Adding Dalvin Cook makes it just that much better. Then you still throw in Alan Lazard, Corey Davis, Garrett Wilson. You have some great receivers. On the defensive side, you obviously have Sauce, who is phenomenal. I like what they have. The Jets could be pretty good. I'm not going to say that they're going to go out there and win their division. That's a tough division. But they could maybe fight for a second place spot.
Yeah, I'm not putting any of those running backs high in my fantasy football draft, though, because if they have a double-headed monster or even a triple-headed monster for their running game, stay away from the Jets running backs.
Yeah, it could be rough.
Stay away from them.
Could be rough. Yeah. Hey, let's take a break. When we come back, I have an interesting story that's come out recently, NFL related.
It might be the same one I'm thinking of.
Maybe we'll talk about it. Maybe we'll talk about it during the break and see if it is, because I'm very curious now. All right, that's coming up next.
Hey, it's Caden Formaster.
And Mark Musgrave, the voice you know with the Fan Sports Network.
Check out our local sports radio show From the Bleachers live every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m.
Listen to us on the radio on 99.5 or 95.3 FM.
You can also listen through the Fan Sports Network app or watch the show live on the Fan Sports Network YouTube page.
The Fan Sports Network is your home of Utah Tech Trailblazers, high school sports, and the pros.
The Fan Sports Network, Southern Utah's home for local sports.
Did you know that St. George News has a new app? Download the St. George News app today and stay up to date on everything happening in Southern Utah. Get instant notifications on news, weather, sports, and more. Download the app today and get your local news now.
Media is everywhere. It's a part of our daily life, our routine, not just for entertainment, but to stay informed. Local media has the biggest impact on your daily life. It's what's around you, what matters. And at Canyon Media, our goal is to deliver the very best in local entertainment, news, and media. From our award-winning radio stations like 99.9 Coney Country to Southern Utah's #1 source for local news, St. George News, we believe in delivering free, fast, and accurate local news, entertainment, and information to all of Southern Utah through our entertaining on-air personalities and music, compelling local shows, and community events like the City of St. George 4th of July celebration and charitable events like Coney Coins for Kids. From our entire team of dedicated designers, videographers, salespeople, digital marketers, writers, and on-air talent, thank you for letting us be a part of your daily life. Canyon Media, here for you.
Hey, it's Sheldon Demke. Check out the latest episode of What's on the Menu, a behind-the-scenes tour of local restaurants. We'll see some of their favorite dishes and get an inside look on how these dishes are prepared. Check out this week's episode at stgeorgenews.com and click the shows on the menu tab. Check out this week's edition of TGIF on stgeorgenews.com. TGIF is your weekend adventure guide to all the fun and exciting things going on in southern Utah this weekend. Find this week's edition at stgeorgenews.com and click the shows on the menu tab. Have a blast this weekend.
As a local business owner, it's important to get the word out about your business. More people equals more revenue for you. Get your business in front of over 160,000 people in southern Utah each week with St. George News. Contact St. George News today.
Welcome back, everybody. It is from the Bleachers here on the Fan Sports Network, broadcasting out of the Findlay Hyundai studio. It is Caden Formaster and Mark Musgrave.
The voice you know.
All right, Mark, let's dive into this story. This one's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people know about the movie The Blind Side.
Yes.
Very popular movie. Came out in 2009. Still one of those that I think a lot of people resonate with. They enjoy watching. I enjoy it. I think it's a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is obviously based on a true story. And Michael Orr, who the story is about, recently has filed a petition, I'll say, in Shelby County, Tennessee, that the petition alleges that the Toohey family, they basically just lied to make money off of him and his, not necessarily his likeness, but his name. And the way that they did that was, number one, he was never adopted by them. That was not a thing that happened. He is not adopted by the Tooheys. That didn't happen like it did in the movie.
But you know what? And in the movie, I can't remember exactly. Did they make it like a legal adoption, or did they just say that they adopted him?
I think there were papers
Was there?
involved. I could be wrong, but I haven't seen the movie in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't either.
But that's one of the things that was in the petition. And the reason he's filing this petition is just to say, hey, that they have, these guys have made a ton of money off of me. And the way that they did it was when he was 18, he alleges that they tricked him into signing a document that would make them his conservators. So again, that would make them have all the legal rights that they would need to do business deals in his name. So they could do things as if they were him, making money off of him and his likeness, which in turn would mean when it came down to making the movie The Blind Side, they're the ones that could have said, let's make this movie. It's fine. We're his conservators, so we can do what we want. The film earned more than $300 million.
So is he
lots of money for
so
him.
he's suing the Tooheys, but should he be suing the movie company? Like, why are they? I don't know why they'd be.
No, because the movie never would have gotten made if it wasn't for them having the rights to him and his name.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's going after them to say, you didn't ask me to do this.
Well, my thoughts are on this is obviously the truth is, first off, the movie's a dramatic, what do they call that? Dramatization. Thank you.
Yeah.
A dramatization. Normally, before every biography or a movie that's based on true events, there's always that disclaimer that says, hey, things have been changed a little bit for dramatic effect, yada, yada, yada. I would assume, again, I haven't seen the movie in a long time, that disclaimer is on that movie. I wonder if that adds any protection to them, the Tooheys, and if that's a hurdle that Michael Orr and his attorneys will have to get over. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. And you got to think that the truth is somewhere in the middle where, maybe they didn't adopt him, but that they took him in to a certain extent and fed him and got him off the street. And I know that even from day one of that movie coming out, he didn't really like the way that he was portrayed in that movie.
Because the reason being was they made me just look like a stupid kid. He's like I wasn't stupid.
Yeah.
You know, he's like they just made him look kind of
But
like
again,
quiet and dumb.
if it was-
is what he said.
If it was dramatized to that, I mean that's better. That's better for the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I understand his gripe, but I also understand that disclaimer is normally on there, and I'm sure it's on that movie. I'm not sure, but I would assume that it is, and I don't know if that takes any liability off them. And just say that disclaimer is on there, and he still like wins a lawsuit. Does that open up another can of worms? Like the precedent is set to where other movies based on true events that are changed a little bit for the movie's effects, if people go back and start suing.
Well, and this is the thing. He doesn't care about the movie that much. What he cares about is getting his name back. Because, again, he's under a conservatorship right now with the Toohey family.
Still, you think?
Yes, because that's what the article says. I'm reading this article, and the whole point of this petition is to end the Toohey's conservatorship.
Well, I'm in favor of that. I mean, he's a grown man.
Yeah,
for hell's
I mean,
sakes.
at this point, he's in his what? He's in his
It's got to be in his
30s,
30s. Gotta
probably.
be. Gotta
Somewhere,
be.
You know, probably mid-30s. So I agree with that. And what he also wants to do with this petition is asking is to get a full accounting of the money that the Tooheys earned in Orr's name, and he wants the couple to pay him his fair share of those profits. If they made money off of his name, which we know that they did because there's also a book that came out that, in turn, the proceeds of the book, and that's what this article says, is that they claim the proceeds of the book is what went towards helping make the movie.
I mean, can they argue? Now, they'll get a good attorney because they are a wealthy family in Tennessee.
Yeah.
I mean, could their argument be, hey, without us, you wouldn't have made your NFL millions? Again, according to the movie story, that's kind of how that played out. But, you know, I mean, they can make that argument. I've been watching a lot of Suits lately. I know how to be an attorney. I'm just kidding. No, I have been watching Suits.
You know, it's tough to say. I do think that they gave, and again, I know the movie and I somewhat know the real story, and the movie kind of gives the same story, as in they put him in a situation to succeed. That's true. That's real life, right? He still had to go and succeed. He still put in the work. I mean, think about it. How many kids are out there that are from well-off families, that are in well-off schools, that they have the same they have those same opportunities that Michael Orr had, but just because they were born into it. Michael Orr's just the one that went and he worked, and he was talented, right? He got to where he was based off of his talent. There are thousands.
But I think there was probably a little bit of help. Like, would he have gotten to the University of Mississippi without the Tooheys' help? I mean,
Maybe.
they were
petitioning for it.
They were alumni there, boosters there.
But he had offers to other places. He had offers to Tennessee. He had offers to LSU. He had offers to
I got to think
a lot of other
there's-
places than Ole Miss.
I'm all in favor of him getting away from them now and cutting that conservatorship. Now, how the money can be, you know, what's his fair share? I mean, what's an attorney going to come up with that? Is it 50% of the proceeds, 35% of the proceeds, the profits in his name? I don't know. But again, too, their argument's going to be like, dude, if his story is somewhat like the movie where they helped him out, got him off the street, helped getting him into the University of Mississippi, helped with academics, whatever the case might be, you know, they have that argument too. Like, dude, you wouldn't have made millions if it wasn't for us. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle.
And I'm sure it does.
But
I'm sure you're right.
It's going to be a tough one. And then why did he wait for the lawsuit for so long? Like, why didn't he do this instantaneously? I mean, I know that when the movie came out, he wasn't happy with the way he was portrayed.
Yeah.
But why didn't he go with this lawsuit right out of the gates?
From the sound of it, is that he didn't even know the conservatorship existed because he thought what he was signing was adoption papers because that's the way it was portrayed to him. And he learned later he was not adopted. The conservatorship was a way for them to just say, this is the way that we can act as your parents.
Yeah.
And instead, it was a conservatorship, not adoption. And he only recently found out that it wasn't an adoption. That's why it's happening now and not 5 years ago when the movie came out.
Stay tuned. And that movie came out a lot longer than 5 years ago.
But that's when he started to get upset, about 5 years ago, something like that.
He's 37 right now, by the way.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that tracks. So, anyway, the story's interesting. I'm sure we'll get some more updates.
Yeah.
But we got to go. We're done.
Stay tuned for a 30 for 30.
That's right. Have a good one, everybody. We'll be back again tomorrow with you here on the Fan Sports Network for From the Bleachers. See you then.
Hey, it's Caden Formaster.
And Mark Musgrave, the voice you know with the Fan Sports Network.
Check out our local sports radio show From the Bleachers live every weekday from 4 to 6.